show that we are under some of the most vicious, lying, fabricating, fictitious government you ever seen.
That's the defendant, representing himself at his own murder trial. That's the victim, 4 minutes before she died.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Very good, thank you. You can put your hand down and we are ready to proceed. Mr. Gale?
Thank you, Your Honor.
And that is his son, a father, a son. A question no child should answer. This is the case. A judge called the worst she'd ever seen. This is Ronnie O'Neal III. Before we get to that courtroom, we need to talk about the people in this story, the ones who don't get to speak for themselves anymore. Riverview, Florida, just south of Tampa, quiet streets, family neighborhoods. This is where the Barron family built their life. Kenyatta. Barron was 33 years old. Everyone called her Kiki, enrolled at Hillsborough Community College, going back to school, building a future, made bean pies for her son, played football with him in the front yard. She had 2 children with a man named Ronnie O'Neal III. Their daughter, Ron Nevea, was 9 years old, cerebral palsy and autism, couldn't speak, couldn't walk without help, but her teachers said she had the most positive attitude of any child they'd ever met. Won terrific kid awards at her school. Their son, Ronnie IV, little Ronnie, was 8. He learned sign language just so he could talk to his sister. That was Kenyatta's family. That was the life she was building. Then Ronnie O'Neal came back. Ronnie and Kenyatta weren't together anymore. He had a history of violence. In November 2017, Ronnie was shot in a drive-by. Bullet to the chest. His heart stopped on the operating table multiple times. Doctors brought him back, but everyone who knew him said the same thing. The man who woke up was not the same man who went under. When he was released, nobody would take him in. Not his friends, not his family, except Kenyatta. Her mother, Carrie Lloyd, begged her not to do it. Don't let that man into your house. Those were some of the last words Carrie ever said to her daughter. After the shooting, Ronnie became obsessed with the Nation of Islam, told people he had died and been reborn, that God had given him a mission. He pressured Kenyatta and the children to convert. They wouldn't. If they wouldn't accept salvation in this life, maybe he could give it to them in the next. On the night of March 18th, 2018, Ronnie O'Neal decided to save his family. What happened over the next 8 minutes, I need to warn you, this is going to be difficult to hear. The Hillsborough County 911 Center receives a call. The caller is a woman. She's been shot. She's hiding in a closet, and she knows she's about to die. In the background, you can hear Ronnie screaming, "She killed me! She killed me!" And then, Allahu Akbar. The call lasts 4 minutes. Judge Michelle Cisco would later describe what she heard as a death scream. Her exact words, "If anyone ever wants to know what it sounds like before a human being dies, knowing that their death is imminent, that's exactly what it is." 4 minutes of knowing death is coming. 4 minutes of begging. For mercy, deputies arrive. They find Kenyatta Barron in a neighbor's yard, not moving. Ronnie had shot her twice with a 12-gauge shotgun while she hid in that closet. When she tried to escape, he chased her down. When he ran out of shells, he beat her with the shotgun itself. He beat her so hard that the barrel of the shotgun bent. The medical examiner counted more than 15 lacerations to her head, 6 to 7 skull fractures. Kenyatta Barron died on that neighbor's doorstep, still trying to get away, but Ronnie wasn't done saving his family. Ronnie went back inside. He found a hatchet, and he found his daughter. Ronnie Vea was in the house, 9 years old, couldn't run, couldn't scream for help. Her 8-year-old brother watched what happened next.
And can you tell us about?
She was autistic. Like, she couldn't talk.
She was not able to talk?
No.
What about walking? Was she able to walk?
Like, she struggled with it, but then she was able to walk again.
Okay. Did she have a wheelchair that she used sometimes too?
Yes.
All right. So what happened after I might have just asked you this, but just to clarify, when your father followed your mother into your sister's room, did he have the shotgun with him?
Yes.
And what did you do after that happened, after your father followed your mother into your sister's bedroom?
Well, I kind of sat in my room, and then my sister was sitting on the bed, like on her bed.
She was sitting up on the bed?
Yes.
Okay. And so she was awake when this happened?
Yes.
All right. And tell me what happened next.
And then my dad told me to walk around and say, like, some words.
And do you remember what words your father told you to say?
Allah Akbar.
Allahu Akbar?
Yes.
And he told you to walk around and say that?
Yes.
And did you do that?
Yes.
And where were you doing this, walking around and saying Allahu Akbar?
It was like you would walk, like, at the front door, you would walk in and then it was there, so like the living room.
At the trial, the boy said all he could see were tears streaming down his sister's face. She couldn't speak, she couldn't beg, she could only cry. Then Ronnie turned to his son, but first he made the boy participate. Little Ronnie testified that his father made him hold the shotgun, made him say Allahu Akbar, tried to make him help. He was 8 years old. Then Ronnie stabbed him multiple times. First responders said he appeared to have been disemboweled. Then Ronnie doused him in gasoline. Then he set him on fire. Then he set the whole house on fire. 2 minutes after deputies arrive, Ronnie O'Neill calls 911 himself. Claims he was attacked by white demons. That Kenyatta tried to kill him. Deputies find him in the yard, covered in blood. They tase him. In the squad car, he calls Kenyatta the devil, says the kids are the devil's kids. And then something happens. As deputies process the scene, as the house burns, the garage door opens, and an 8-year-old boy walks out on fire, stomach ripped open, holding himself together with his hands. He collapses in the yard, and the first words out of his mouth, "My daddy killed my mommy." Little Ronnie was medevaced to Tampa General Hospital. He wasn't expected to survive the night, but 3 years later, he would face his father in court. And that's when this case becomes something else entirely. It took 3 years to bring Ronnie O'Neill to trial. In 2018, he was declared incompetent. Follow-up evaluations cleared him, and that's when Ronnie made a decision that defense attorneys still talk about. He fired his lawyers. Ronnie wanted to argue self-defense, Florida's Stand Your Ground law. His attorneys told him that wasn't going to work. The evidence was overwhelming. The surviving witness was his own son, and claiming self-defense against a 9-year-old in a wheelchair doesn't play well with juries. So Ronnie decided he would do it himself in a death penalty case. If you've watched true crime, you know how pro-SSE defendants fare. Ted Bundy, convicted. Colin Ferguson's convicted. Rodney Alcala, convicted. There's an old saying, a man who represents himself has a fool for a client. Trial Judge Michelle Cisco warned him, gave him every opportunity to reconsider. Ronnie's response? He compared himself to Notorious B.I.G. The judge pointed out that Biggie was murdered. Trial day, opening statements. The prosecution goes first, methodical, professional. They play the 911 call, lay out the evidence. Then it's Ronnie's turn. He stands up, head down, rubs his hands together, and then he starts screaming. His defense: the 911 calls were fabricated. Law enforcement framed him. Kenyatta killed their daughter, stabbed their son, and set the fire. He was just defending himself against a woman he outweighed by 100 pounds and a 9-year-old in a wheelchair. Here's the problem with representing yourself when your surviving victim is your own son. You have to cross-examine him yourself. On Wednesday, Ronnie O'Neill asked his son a question. The answer would break the internet.
Well, you have to identify what record you're relying upon as far as the statement goes.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I was about to do that.
I know, but you have to identify for the record, so you need to give the state the heads up on what record you're going to be utilizing or relying upon.
Well, it's Jennifer Miller interview, page 24.
Okay. Page 24 of what?
Line 15.
Is that from a deposition or from a report?
That's not from the report, it's from an interview. That's sort of a deposition from Jennifer Miller.
All right, State, do you know what Mr. O'Neill's referring to?
I believe this is a forensic interview.
Okay, so go ahead.
Page 24, line 15. Do you remember telling her after she asked? She said, and then you said that there was a shooting outside and then in your sister's closet. And then she said, who was getting the shooting? And you said, my mom. And she said, your mom, okay. And did you see it happen or did you just hear it happen or something else? And you said, I heard it and saw it. Do you remember that?
Do you remember making that statement to
Like,
Miss Miller? Yeah, just answer yes, no, or I don't know.
like saying that my mom shot.
No, let me ask it again. You replied to Jennifer Miller's question. She asked you who was getting the shooting, and you said your mom. And she said, okay, did you see it? And you said, I heard it and saw it. Do you remember saying that to her?
No, I did not.
All right. But you did hear a shot that night. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when you heard that shot, where were you at that time?
Standing by the house phone.
All right. Do you know where your mom was shot at? And what part of the body she was shot in? Do you know anything about that? Can you hear me fine?
You said where she was shot?
Yes, sir. Do you know where your mom was shot at?
No.
Deposition, page 68.
Whose deposition?
Our deposition.
Ronnie O'Neal IV appeared via video. 11 years old now, therapy dog at his side, and a new last name. I'll tell you how he got it at the end. The prosecution went first, an 11-year-old, calmly describing the worst night of his life. Then it was his father's turn. Ronnie O'Neal stands up, about to cross-examine the child he tried to murder. First thing he says, and the boy, this 11-year-old who watched this man murder his mother and sister, who was stabbed and set on fire by this man, responds, I don't know where an 11-year-old finds that kind of grace. Ronnie spent several minutes poking at inconsistencies, suggesting the boy was coached, and then he asked the question. 3 words, that's all it took. You stabbed me. That clip went everywhere. Ice-T shared it. Every news site, every platform. Ronnie O'Neal's defense was finished, but the trial wasn't over. Ronnie still had witnesses, and what happened next was the most spectacular self-destruction in courtroom history. After his son's testimony, Ronnie had 3 witnesses. His entire defense lasted 30 minutes. His star witness? A neighbor. Ronnie called this young man thinking he'd blow the prosecution's case wide open.
Can you draw any conclusions that I committed any murder in this case?
Yes, that's why I arrested you.
Did you say that I didn't kill Kenyatta Barron in self-defense?
I'm not going to say that, no. I arrested you for her murder.
No further questions, Your Honor.
And have you made a decision yet whether or not you're going to testify?
He testified he watched Ronnie chase Kenyatta with a shotgun, saw him standing over her body. His own witness buried him. That's what happens when you represent yourself. You call a witness thinking he's your ace, and he hands the prosecution a gift. Then Detective Mike Blair took the stand. Blair was one of the first responders, not the lead investigator, just a deputy who showed up that night. But he'd done something nobody expected. He adopted little Ronnie, the boy's new last name, Blair.
Closing argument today to give the folks at home a flavor for what happened inside that courtroom before the
He's playing a fraudulent damn recording of me beating Kenyatta Barron 15 damn times when that did not happen. And like I told you earlier, you will know the truth whether in this trial or the next one. Better believe it. 'Cause if you think I'm here to play around with y'all, damn it, I'm not.
All right, Mr. O'Neal, please stop using language. It's not appropriate in a closing argument.
Now he played a recording that was sped up. Why didn't you play the regular recording that people can understand what the call was saying?
Objection to the defendant asking me questions, Your Honor.
I'm going to sustain
I'm talking to people.
Mr. O'Neal, listen, please just keep in mind it's not personal towards the prosecutors. Please keep your comments directed towards the evidence and the law. Thank you.
I know for a fact Kenyatta Barron's recording from her phone calls sped up like that.
I'm going to object now. He's talking about facts, not in evidence of what he knows.
Again, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as you were instructed, the closing arguments are just that. They're not the evidence or the instruction on the law. It's just what the party believes shows. All right? Thank you.
You heard Mr. Khalil Brown. You've been hearing me for 2 weeks now telling you that they committed criminal acts against me with the 911 calls and that fraudulent video that they just showed y'all. Now, I'll prove it to you. You heard Khalil Brown. He said that he was actually sure that I only hit Kenyatta Barron 3 times. You heard. I called him to tell you that. I ain't running from nothing. Mr. Gale just told you that my son told you that I took gasoline and poured it over my daughter's body. I showed you an interview with Miss Jennifer Miller. She asked him, did you see your dad pour gasoline anywhere in the house? And he said, no, I did not. But they are ready to use my son against me, but they weren't ready to use Khalil Brown for some reason. When he's 7 years older than my son and saw exactly what happened, they falsified the audio recordings from her phone and they falsified the 911 call to make me look like a damn menace to society.
When Detective Blair finished testifying, Ronnie had the chance to cross-examine him. Instead, for one moment, Ronnie showed something resembling humanity. Then, in closing arguments, he accused Blair of coaching the boy, of conspiracy, of framing him. Whatever that moment earned, gone. Closing arguments, Ronnie screamed, cursed. The judge warned him repeatedly, and then he admitted it, still claimed self-defense. The jury didn't buy it. 4.5 hours of deliberation, 7 counts, all guilty. First-degree murder, Kenyatta Barron. First-degree murder, Ron Nevaeh O'Neal. Attempted first-degree murder, arson, aggravated child abuse, resisting arrest. The penalty phase came next. Prosecution wanted death. But Ronnie wasn't done making noise. The penalty phase presented mitigating factors: Ronnie's childhood abuse, the shooting that nearly killed him, mental illness, PTSD. Under Florida law, death requires unanimous jury agreement. They couldn't agree. Life without parole. July 23, 2021, sentencing day.
This is your justice.
Ronnie O'Neal faces the final judgment for murdering his ex-girlfriend and daughter, crimes that captivated people across the country. He offered up no sorrow.
I am not sorry for something I didn't do, and I am not sorry for the things I did do.
His words coming as no surprise to the family of Kenyatta Barron.
It's the same reactions he's always had in life. It's the same reaction that caused him to commit these murders. You guys just got to see it for yourself.
Kenyatta's family took the stand, able to speak from their hearts and tell O'Neal what they've waited 3 years to tell him.
So when you sit in that cell for the rest of your life, remember, you don't leave out until you're in a box. So when you sit in that cell every day, 24 hours a day, that scream, I want you to hear it. When she comes to you in your dreams, I want you to receive it. You know why? Because that was a child of God.
The judge also able to share her thoughts on the case, getting especially emotional as she spoke about Ron Nevaeh, O'Neal's 9-year-old daughter, and what he did to her.
At the moment, that first time you struck her with that hatchet, and little Ronnie testified that all he could see was tears coming out of his sister's face. At that moment, that child knew. She knew she was being betrayed in the cruelest, most tragic and sorrowful way that a child could ever be betrayed. She was being betrayed by her parent, the one person that should be there to protect their children and love them and keep them from harm.
O'Neal will spend the rest of his life in a jail cell without the chance of parole, a judgment Barron's family feels is a win, even if he wasn't sentenced to death. Afterwards, they shared videos of Kenyatta, who they call Kiki, and Ron Nevaeh for the first time.
Love yourself. Love yourself.
They say Kiki was a loving mother who went above and beyond for her children.
If somebody ever tell you you cannot do something, stay away from that person, because there's so many negative people out here in this world who try to
make you be something you're not, to make you be what they want you to be.
Her mother, Carrie, heartbroken and riddled with sadness, her daughter and granddaughter every day.
My family is my life. I breathe for my family. So now you got me gasping for air because you took my children from me.
Ronnie had one last chance to speak. Judge Sisko shut him down. Then she made him stand and face her. 19 years, hundreds of murders. This was the worst. 3 consecutive life sentences without parole, plus 90 years. Ronnie O'Neal III will die in prison. He thought he was saving his family's souls. Instead, he sent himself to hell. After the sentence, the family spoke. Carrie Lloyd, Kenyatta's mother, Desada Barron, Kenyatta's sister. But this story doesn't end in that courtroom. There's one more person, and for once, this part is good. Remember Detective Mike Blair, first responder, March 18th, 2018. By the time he arrived, a child was being medevaced, not expected to live. But little Ronnie did live. A few weeks later, Detective Blair visited him in the hospital. Wasn't his job, he just went. One night, as Blair was leaving, the little boy grabbed his hand. Blair had plans. Date night with his wife, Danielle, he called her. November 25th, 2019. Officially adopted. New name, Ronnie Blair. Family of 7, Mike, Danielle, and 5 siblings. He has a mantra now. He still remembers his mother. He remembers his sister. Kenyatta Barron deserved to see her son grow up. Ron Nevea deserved a full life. But their story doesn't end with what happened to them. Kenyatta raised a son who survived the unsurvivable, who testified against his father with more courage than most adults could find. Ron Nevea was the terrific kid who smiled through everything. And little Ronnie, Ronnie Blair now, is proof that even after the worst thing that can happen, there can still be light. He is safe, he is loved, he is part of a family, and the monster who tried to destroy him will spend every day until he dies knowing that his son is being raised by the detective who responded to his crime. Sometimes that's the closest we get to justice. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more.